Okay. Straight up and down. Knicks went up in Philly last year in the playoffs, and we beat them. And then after that, see, it comes real life is real life, and a lot of people have a hard way of just admitting real life. Now, I'm gonna keep saying it because they must just don't know. And if we have an off day as the Knicks play in Philadelphia, whether it's in the playoffs or whether it's in the regular season, let me say this. Philly can't beat New York, okay? The 76ers can't beat New York. So everybody going to be talking trash and talking about next season. Well, the Knicks are waiting for whoever in the Eastern Conference Finals between Detroit or Cleveland Cavaliers. Let me correct myself, the Detroit Pistons and the Cleveland Cavaliers. We are waiting for any one of those teams. We have like a good week rest. Now, it's not really good to rest because you want that momentum and but we need the rest as the team because we need OG to come back and we need the full team, but that's not making no excuses because the Knicks, we've been playing next man up the whole season before the playoffs. And told a lot of people this. It's all good when the Knicks was losing back in the days in the early 2000s. It was all good. People loved it. But when the Knicks are winning now, and I'm going to give respect to Jalen Brunson and the whole New York Knicks. I'm going to give respect to Leon Rose. Even, it's going to be hard for me to say, but shout out to James Dolan, and I don't got no hate in my blood for James Dolan. I just don't like certain things that he do as a owner, and in my heart of hearts, I know James Dolan know that he does nonsense a lot of times that makes the organization looks crazy. But how could we say? That's just James Dolan, right? Now let me get back to the Knicks and the Sixers. Okay. Now, see, a lot of people don't like the underlining, you know, and I like the underlining because last year when a lot of New Yorkers went to Philadelphia, I forgot their stadium name, to be honest with you, but when New Yorkers and Knicks fans and Knicks supporters went to the stadium last year, they was embarrassed. The 76ers players, they didn't like that. They was embarrassed, and to be honest with you, some of the people that live in Philly that's basketball fans, a lot of them didn't care. And this is like the real reality of things. To me, it's something not right about it because I remember Josh Hart saying a couple of days ago when the reporters was asking him about the Knicks in Philly, and he said, I thought Philadelphia was a sports city. In all fun and games, yeah, we could make our jokes and all that, but Philadelphia is a sports city in America, and you cannot take the sports history from Philadelphia, from the Flyers to the Eagles to the 76ers and to the Phillies, you know. Those are the teams that I know that represented Philadelphia for their professional sports teams. So you can't take that away. Even their boxers, you know, even from their MCs as rappers, you know, because battle rap and rapping, yeah, it's a sport too. But that's another time for another subject. So when I hear Josh Hart say that, you know, that's him getting a little jabs because the Knicks and Philly have our little rivalry. And it's cool, but I'm going to say this. After Iverson left, it was a hole because you had, what is it? You had Lou Williams on the team. And, like, furthermore, when you look at it, Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid, those are people in the class as in Philly, you know, superstars. You know, Julius Erving, Dr. J, and Iverson are Philly legends, you know, that people look up to. But Joel Embiid and Maxey, they superstars. They superstars. And I'm not going to take that away from them. I'm not going to take nothing away from Joel Embiid. Nah, I ain't going to do that. I ain't going to take nothing away from Maxey either. VJ Edgecombe, nah. Because, as I always say, a lot of people that could criticize these players when they lose, it's okay to criticize and down people when they lose, you know? And you're not with them, but you're with them when they win. You know, and some people say it's all in sports talk and it's all like it's just talk, but nah, shows a lot about you, you know, because we had to talk about this the other day on PMC chat. You respect your opponent. And even though it was a 4-0 sweep, Philly played. You know, like, yeah, we beat them 2 games in New York. But game 3 and game 4, straight up and down, the Knicks won the game, but the fans won the game too. You know, and the New York Knicks fans, they came out. You know, because I don't know how many people fill up the Philadelphia 76ers on Basketball Arena, but all I know when I was watching game 3 and game 4, and game 4 mostly, you seen the cameraman Well, in game three, you seen the cameraman putting on camera on Fat Joe. What is it? The girl Kylie Jenner. Um, Timothy Chalamet or whatever his name was. Ben Stiller. You know, you seen the New York celebrities, but then you seen New York fans. So when you have that in a stadium, I'm gonna say this, man. Some people may not like it, but we could fight and scratch with each other. But when it comes to New York, loving New York is gonna love New York, and that's the old school way. I don't know how the new school is of everybody wanting to be like, separated. Yes, we understand that, but New York support New York. That's the old school way. You live in your own separate boroughs, but when it comes to our teams are our teams. But I'm gonna say this. I hope, cause it is sad to me too. Like, yeah, I am a Knicks supporter. I backed MSG all the way, but to me it is sad how Philadelphia fans did let New York take over y'all stadium. To me, it is sad because New Yorkers, and not even New Yorkers, I'm going to say this. A city is not supposed to override your fans, but some people just don't understand when it comes to New York. See, Philly, y'all want Joel Embiid to win the championship, and everybody wants that. They want Tyrese Maxey to win the championship, the young boy VJ Edgecombe to win the championship. Yes, but the thing is, what you have to understand, in all of these teams playing East or West in the playoffs and the regular season, all of them are chasing the championship. Everybody is chasing that gold medal. Now, within chasing that gold medal from the East and the West, in the regular season, it's workout. Then when the playoff comes, it's elimination. The finals come, that's doomsday. Every every day in the finals, in the NBA finals, not the Eastern Conference Finals or the Western Conference Finals, the NBA finals. Every day in the NBA finals from game 1 all the way till game 7, or if it's a 4-2 or if it's a 4-1, it's doomsday. You And if you're playing in the NBA Finals and you're not serious, well, you don't belong there. You don't belong there because you play a full season, 82 games to get to the playoffs, to get to the NBA Finals, whether you're from the East or the West. And yeah, Philly got eliminated last year by the Knicks. Detroit got eliminated last year, but Detroit still has to figure out what they're going to do with the Cleveland Cavaliers, because I could wishfully think and say, yes, everything is lined up for Detroit and the Knicks. And I'm going to be real. I'm 80% for sure that the Knicks and the Detroit Pistons are going to meet in the Eastern Conference Finals. But that 20% is still giving Cleveland Cavaliers that chance to battle on the field. And they still, what was the other game? 116 to 109. Don't matter how much you win by. long as the clock, when them zeros count down and there's zeros on the clock and you got that W, that's what counts in the playoffs now. But it's just right, like everything is just like how everything is lined up this year in the NBA, whether it's on the West or the East. And this is what builds greatness in life and in sports, because this still has to do with the Sixers and the Knicks and even basketball itself in life, because a lot of people may say, oh, they don't play sports or they don't like sports, but sports could teach you a lot of trials and tribulations in life. Sports could teach you how to get through things in life that you may never think you could get through. But trust me, in basketball, you got the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and fourth quarter. And if you would want to look at your team losing by 20 in the first quarter, I'm going to say this. You got a new day in the second quarter, because if you losing by 20 in the first quarter, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Don't think you're going to settle in because you losing by 20 in the first quarter and just quit. No. No. The second quarter is a new day. You keep fighting. You keep clawing. You keep scratching. You may bring it down to 12 or even 8. Then got a halftime break. You and your team and the coaches settle down. Talk about, first thing you should talk about is, why are we playing like this? Defensive strategy, and everybody working together on the team. And what I mean by everybody working together on the team, I am not talking about the players only, the coaches and the players. And when the coaches and the players are going good together and everybody is listening to each other, that is when the team, see, some people always think when you talk about the team, right? You're talking about the 12 to 15 players on the basketball team. No. The team starts from the owner, the general manager, the president, the coach, the defensive coach, the trainers, the doctors, the fans, the supporters, the people at home. That's the team for any city in America or any place in this world. That's how it goes. Now, if that's correct, and y'all come out of that locker room, you got third quarter. It's another new day. You don't worry about what happened in the first and the second quarter. You know what you worry about? You worry about what y'all talked about in that locker room, and you worry about moving forward and chopping this lead down. And then after that, you look at, by the end of the third quarter, the game is tied up. Now you go to the fourth quarter, a next new day. You are both on even playing field. I would just use 59 and 59 as an example. You both are stuck at 59 with 12 minutes to go. You leave everything out there on the floor. And trust me, the team that was losing by 20 at the end of the first quarter, if they stick together, they're going to win that game. Now, in the NBA Finals right now on the West, no matter how we twist it and turn it, let me see, I can't remember the score from the Timberwolves and the Timber man? Who is the Timberwolves? Let me see. Well, what I really want to say is the OKC is the top team in the West. And a lot of people would argue, would say they're the top team in the whole league, but I ain't with that. I ain't with that at all. Like, yes, I do respect SGA as a point guard, but I ain't gonna pick OKC over the Knicks. No, we ain't gonna do something like that. Never in a lifetime. That'd be a crime. Now, they're supposed to be the number one team, I will say right now, in the West Coast. You know, because in the West Coast right now, other than OKC, see, a lot of people would like to really say that the Spurs is going to run through the Timberwolves, but if you know basketball, I don't care what nobody say. Anthony Edwards on the Timberwolves, yeah, he hurt and he's coming off the bench, but Anthony Edwards is going to will that team like win, lose, or draw. You know, he ain't going to just like lay down. And the Timberwolves ain't going to just lay down either. They're a solid team. Now, Victor Wembanyama, yeah, he's nice, but Castle and them got to help. You know, we need a team. Because I'm going to say this. Let's San Antonio play around, and you'll see the Timberwolves in the Western Conference Finals. Because the Lakers is done. You know. And to be honest with you, I'm really proud of Deuce McBride. And this is the thing about the fans. And a lot of people, Knicks fans can see this, and Knicks fans know this. In Game 3, when he went on the bench, I can't remember which time it was, but he was mad at himself. And he was there talking to himself. Game 3, Deuce know that he didn't play to his best, but Deuce is one of our good defenders. And Deuce is one of our good three-point shooters on our team. And Deuce may not do what he did in Game 4 every game, but we need Deuce to be on defense. Because I just think Jalen Brunson going to do some work in the Eastern Conference Finals. And I believe he going to switch it up on people. Because he know if you want what you want and the whole organization want that ring, want that championship, you're going to have to switch it up. And I believe he got the ability to do it in the team. One thing that I really see, though, and I give, is the respect, you know, like, I respect the energy of the team. Because the team is behind them. And the city behind them. And this is the thing, you know, like, I can't be soft with it. Like, New Yorkers, we do grind people up. You know, like, if you don't play right, you is going to get it. You know, but He represented, you know? He represented. And the job just ain't finished yet, though. We still got more trees to chop down, because, what is it, the Thompson brother, Caden, Durham. I ain't scared of Detroit. Nah, I ain't scared of Detroit. Like, if we look back in history, we gotta do what we did to them last year, but even better. We gotta make it look good this year. We gotta make it look right, because they know they got blood on their jaw from what we did last year, and they mad. They want revenge on the Knicks because we took them out. But they in a tight position right now. So if it's them, see, because the thing is, right, whether it's Cleveland or Detroit, right now the Knicks in New York City is hungry. Okay? And like, let me tell you something, the energy's so real. New York City won a championship, so whether a lot of people may say, oh, Knicks fans are crazy, Knicks fans are this and that. Well, you could call them that, but let me tell you something. Let me tell everybody something. When New York wake up, New York wake up. And when New York want what New York want, because the game one of the Eastern Conference Finals, it's going to be in Detroit, maybe, if we play Detroit. If it's in Cleveland, like, I'm going to just say, like, just as we was in Philly, New Yorkers would go to Cleveland too, or Detroit. Like, I say this, man, the Knicks want the toughest mission ahead of us. Because if people been dissing on the New York Knicks for all these years, right? It's okay, man. We ain't going to take the easy way. We want the hard route. And if people looking at what the Knicks is doing in these playoffs right now in 2026, we doing something that they ain't see in a long time. So, bring on whoever. Because Detroit could be defensive, but it's New York City. We could get gritty too. And see, the thing is, right, people, I don't know why people gonna forget that when New York want to lock a team down, New York will lock a team down. Like, forget what we did to the Hawks. And forget what we did to the 76ers / the New York 76ers, because that's the new name you're going to start calling the 76ers, the New York 76ers. When we want to lock a team down, because when OG come back and we have Wingstop, when we have Wingstop on board, left to right, Mitch gonna hold it for us. Because Mitchell Robinson is the longest Knicks on the team right now since he been drafted. And a lot of people been talking about trading Mitch for the past 2 years. Of getting Guinness and all of that, getting KD, a lot of rumors. But let me tell you something. You never disrespect who ride with you. Respect, brother. Respect, brother. Respect, Eric. God bless, man. You never disrespect who ride with you. And through all of the trade rumors, through all of the nonsense that went on ESPN or whatever, Mitchell Robinson came out and played home games, away games. And yeah, sometimes I remember one time I told my brother, yeah, he not a offensive scoring center, but you know what? Mitchell Robinson is one of the reasons why we got this far. One of the reasons. And a lot of people will look at maybe, Brunson, Anunoby, and Cat. Yeah, they did their job, but Mitchell Robinson is doing his job, and he been on the team doing his job. So you could bring on whoever you want to bring on. I don't think that we are scared of any team. Because as I said before, New York is hungry. Okay? We've been hungry last year, and we hungry this year. So we're gonna have our week break. We're gonna have our time off and wait for the Eastern Conference Finals. Respect S4, go New York, go New York. Bless up, my brother, man. Thank you for your time and your energy. No, like, as I say, I know Detroit mad, but we mad too. You don't think Detroit could be mad, but we are mad as well. We are mad that we ain't get a championship. So I don't think their madness in Detroit could amount to, New York City madness of getting a ring. Bless up, Marlene. Bless up, job bless and grand rising. I don't think they could amount to our madness of wanting to get a ring in New York City. And I'm going to be totally honest too, because I'm not going to get on here and front and lie. I know that if we have to play Detroit, because I say Detroit is more of a tougher team than Cleveland. Like, sorry, I could care less about the Cleveland Cavaliers of James Harden and Donovan Mitchell giving us any competition in New York. We will fly them off of this map as well. What we did to Philadelphia and the Hawks, we will do to Cleveland. So I will say the Detroit Pistons will be a tougher competition for the New York Knicks. If they want defense, we're going to have to give them defense too. And I think the Knicks have the ability to play defense just as them. If they want to play dirty, well, we're going to see how that goes down. But just as they hungry, we are hungry too. And I believe we are more hungrier because we traded a lot of people. We made a lot of money trades. We sacrificed a lot on this New York Knicks team to get here and to be here. So, like, I don't think any team on the East Coast made more sacrifice than we did in the past 2 years or even 3 years if you want to stretch it in trades, draft picks. A lot of people complaining about the Mikal Bridges trade. They complaining about the Cat trade. They complaining about the OG trade. But you know what? In the past 2 years, we got close to, very close, Ewing tried, Carmelo tried, or Mari Stoudemire tried, Spreewell tried, Allen Houston tried, Charlie Ward, all of some of the Knicks great, they tried. But you know what? As I tell a lot of people, these are the new Knicks of this new generation, and they have that simple thing. Yes, they may fall, but this team don't give up. They may look bad when they look bad, but this team don't give up. And yes, many people seen the Knicks lose many times. People know that. We've been the laughing stock of the NBA for years. But I will say this, put some respect on our name right now because we playing. And when we playing, because I even say that we're still not playing to the best of our ability. I still believe that. And I am not even joking. I am not joking. I think the Knicks are still not playing at tip top shape. Because I could tell you a lot of things that why I think we're not playing at tip top shape, even though we're still playing good. And if we play at this tip top shape, it will probably be worse for the East Coast teams. And yes, we are ready for any West Coast team. Because if Cat stopped his fouls and I'm gonna be honest to you. Cat is putting out his hand way too much, but I'm going to say this, and I'm not saying this because I'm a Knicks supporter. I think a lot of the referees are picking on him. You know? Yes, he do put his hand out, and if I was a referee, I will call certain fouls with him putting his hand out and extending his hand. But sometimes I think he get called for offensive fouls. That's not good. Sometimes he get called for little ticky-tack things. That's not good. And they do it. But the thing is, I'm going to say this. That got us right here. All of that got us right here, though. All the crazy fouls they called on him. So I wouldn't say keep it up, but some people will say this thing in history. If you got something that's broke like that, don't change it up. Just keep working with that. But and it's a crazy angle to look at, because I would say even Jalen Brunson, he surprised me, and I'm gonna give him his respect, because he changed around his game somewhat. Mikal Bridges, Jose Alvarado, the whole team is playing how they're supposed to play as a team. And this is how I like to see the Knicks play because we play together as a team. I don't care about SGA. SGA can't stop us. I don't care about Caden. And this one thing I'm going to say this for now too. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this before it even happens. Referees, don't try to save SGA when it comes to the Knicks. Okay? Because I know how things may go down, but you got to hope for better. So I'm going to say it again. Referees, don't cheat for SGA when it comes to the Knicks. And this is not me on no wishfully thinking, hopping over the Detroit Pistons. But as I say, we hungry and we want blood. So if it's Detroit, let it be. Because we ready. OG going to come back and let me see. Let me go down memory lane. Because I remember telling my big brother this, and it's still, I'm not going to lie about it, because it don't make no, I do miss Tom Thibodeau as a coach, but, Mike Brown came, and thank you very much, Marlene. Thank you very much. Grand rising to you, man. Thank you. Mike Brown came and me, I'm not this is Mike Brown first year on the team as the head coach, and me, I'm very loyal, So it still do hurt that Tom Thibodeau got fired and the business of it, because to be honest with you, I don't know if he got a coaching job right now. I'm gonna check it out later, but in the NBA, the NFL, and MLB, I'm naming American sports of being a head coach or the general manager in the MLB. when your team loses and you get fired as a coach, like yes, it has other teams out there that may call you, and it has other teams that may not call you. Tom Thibodeau been on the Knicks for, if I'm correct, I think 5 years, and like you get used to a coach as a player or a person that used to play basketball. You get used to coaches, and a lot of people would wash Tom Thibodeau away because say he worked the players, and there's a lot of stuff that they wrote in articles and reports that you could see on ESPN and different places. But some people will give the question right now of me saying this. They will say, would Tom Thibodeau get the Knicks this far, this team? I will say yes, because he's not a bad coach, and a lot of people would like to say things about him just because he may throw a lot of minutes on players. But let me say this to the people that never looked at, I'm not going to say never looked at this angle of it, but you have to think about this. He really play who he trusts, okay? And that's with like many coaches, because I could put somebody in that I don't really trust as a player, but you have to understand when you're in a very tight position in the season or the playoffs, are you going to put somebody in the game that you don't trust? Are you going to take a leap of faith? Some people may do it, but in history shows in sports, people don't do that. Coaches don't do that. They're going to stick to somebody that they trust, that they know. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't want to trust somebody else, or you shouldn't want to give a player a chance, because this is how, on another like scale, this is how people grow confidence. So yes, you should always want to give somebody a chance, but that's not the way the business is, and that's just not the way some coaches are. Some coaches are going to stick to what they know and who they trust. And everybody that knows Tom Thibodeau, they know he is going to stick to what he is. He's going to stick to how he coaches, and he is not going to change for nobody. So when Leon Rose and the Knicks organization, when we brought him to the New York Knicks, Madison Square Garden, to be our coach, you knew that. Just like when he was on the Chicago Bulls and the Timberwolves. So like I don't have nothing bad to say about Tom Thibodeau, because he was the coach and he did his job. Like Mike Brown, I give him full respect of what he's doing this year in the 25-26 season in the NBA playoffs and the regular season. I give him respect, because I can't remember the actual numbers, but I think we won two more games than we did last year. So, if we want to call that a positive thing, go ahead. We will call that a positive thing, But the thing is, this is how dirty the game is. This is how dirty the business is. I didn't want to speak about this, but I have to say this. If Mike Brown don't win a championship this year, his job is in 50-50 limbo. He may not have a job, but the thing is, he may still have a chance because he got this far. But every day you wake up in sports entertainment, when it comes to, like, we watch the sports as the entertainment, but then when you talk about the business part and behind the scenes of what happens with the moving and the shaking of players and coaches, that's when it gets scary. A lot of people would always just look at the players, but no. And I always say this too, you have to make sure that it's people that the players like, because these people you just sticking people on teams, like putting this guy here, this guy there, whether it's coaches or players. And one thing I always said, playing basketball with people, I got to make sure I know you, and I gotta know how you are as a player, and you're not gonna really know them too much as a personal, person, because you're, playing basketball, whether you're going in the park or the gym. But you just gotta have a little identity of their basketball ability, and well, that's how I will feel, and that's how I always felt. I don't know about other people, but like, I want to know why you here and what you here for, because you're not just playing regular. That's, I don't want to just play to play. No, I'm not playing to play. I'm playing to win. So if you're playing to play, I wouldn't want you on my team, you know? And I seen a lot of people like that just play to play. I don't play to play basketball. And in the NBA, why I could say sometimes I used to get frustrated at it kind of when I was a teenager because these are $1 million players, and I remember us playing in the park or even the gym. Like, we going hard, and we're not playing for, like, if we was playing for money, we surely not playing for the money that they was getting in the NBA. Even college right now with the NIL, and I'm happy for those college guys and girls getting money, but I'm going to keep saying this too since I'm on the platform and I'm talking about basketball. Pay the WNBA women more money. I'm going to keep on saying this. Shout out to every team in the WNBA and shout out to every woman in the WNBA. Keep balling, and I love every single woman in the WNBA. For real. That's one thing I'm going to always keep on saying because I don't, even some of the women in the world too that don't support, like, I'm not saying that all women must support the WNBA, but everybody would like to give the WNBA a black eye sometimes, and I don't think it's right. Because just as the men play, these women play as well. And the sad thing about it is, and people don't look at it, it's just sad because they don't care, but I'm sorry, and this is the Aquarius in me. They get paid peanuts compared to the men players, okay? And like, if we're talking about equality in the world or equality in America, if you a lawyer or even if you a businessman or woman and you look at the salaries, come on. This this is sick, and that's why I respect everybody that will put their support into the WNBA, and I respect some of the NBA men that support the WNBA because they need the men's support, and they need support of the people in America that watch basketball, and they need other people outside, because just as the Dream Team went and played across seas in 1992, and they went and took the NBA global, well, they should take the WNBA global too. So when I don't want to hear none of that joint about people making drama between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. No, let's stop that, okay? Because they're two young ladies that is playing professional basketball, and you should want the best for those two young ladies. The people that want the division and the people that see, they're competitors, so they're going to compete whether it's verbally or physically on the court. Now, you shouldn't put fire to it because you're just making it worse because she's a Caucasian woman and she's an African American woman. You shouldn't put no flame to that fire because at the end of the day, they're going to love each other because they do show each other respect, but people are always putting flames to the fire. Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, stop it. Okay, stop it. Because just as you have a brotherhood in the NBA, yes, many of them women support each other in the WNBA. Okay. Shout out to the New York Liberty. I love y'all. For real. I'm New York all the way, We're gonna support the New York Liberty too, for real. Not, shout out to Asia Wilson, shout out to Paige Beckett, Caitlin Clark, shout out to all the girls, Jackie, you know, Breonna Stewart, Breonna Taylor, shout out to all the girls, like, Shamika Hoslaw, you know, like the Maya Moore, Sue Bird, Lisa Leslie, Lobo. Shout out to all the female legends that played in the WNBA. I'm trying to think about some of the Comet ladies, but hold on. Let me see. What was my own girl with the sneakers, man? She played for the Houston Comets. Played for the Houston Comets, and she had a Nike deal. She had a Nike deal. I'm trying to remember. Oh man, she was nice too, man. It was Cheryl Swoops. But Cheryl Swoops, if I'm correct, she played for the Houston Comets too. And I'm trying to think. She was nice though, man. She was Cheryl Swoops. Wow, man, I can't believe myself that I forget. Man, I'm mad at myself right now, but I'm gonna put it up on my on that community joint when I see her picture, cause I remember my girl cousin had her sneakers, you know. No, and the WNBA, if I'm correct, 1996, 1997, I think is when the league started. And we are in 2026 right now. Come on, give them their respect. They came from when nobody wasn't watching them on TV at all. And that's when the Houston Comics, excuse me for that, and the LA Sparks was the two premier teams. They was the flagship teams. Nowadays, the Las Vegas Skies are, but I don't know. Aja Wilson is nice though, for real. Good, nobody say Aja Wilson is nice, but Candace Parker, my favorite. That's my favorite WNBA basketball player of all times, and actually my favorite women's basketball player of all times, Candace Parker. You know, because Candace Parker in Tennessee, if you ever seen her in the Tennessee Vols, you know, she was a beast. And I forgot her brother name, but she way better than her brother. No disrespect to you, bro, him. But she way better than him, you know? And yeah, the WNBA had a lot of, ladies. And when they went across seas to play for the USA in the Olympics, they represented as well, just like our men in America, they played for the Olympics. They represented too, they went across seas and played. You know, I just think that, to be honest, I know it's easier to talk about it, to say that people need to support it more, but to me, I think people need to have an understanding, because it's easy to make people watch football every Sunday, Monday, Thursday. Yeah, they're going to do that in America and around the world, but NBA, yeah, certain people that watch basketball in America and around the world, they're going to watch basketball, but only certain die-hard people that really love basketball is going to watch the WNBA. But I think that people need to have understanding and talks and debates, because that's the only true way that people would learn about it or even overstand it or understand it, because the same way people love basketball, as in watching the NBA, these women love basketball as well. They play it. And the young ladies and the young women and the little girls that watch them play, they love it as well. You don't think that these little girls look up to Caitlin Clark? You don't think these little girls look up to Aja Wilson? You don't think these little girls look up to Angel Reese and them? They do. Just like people wanted to be like Jordan, boys and girls. Well, it has. And see, people look at it as a weird way. But you got some girls in the WNBA. Man, let me tell you, you judge these girls, right? But I know for sure they got some girls in the WNBA that'll shoot these dudes lights out that call themselves regular civilians that judge these girls. But I know for sure some of these girls will shoot better than them. Because you could talk all you want about Caitlin Clark, right? But Cece's a sharpshooter. She's a sharpshooter. Like, like, if it's one thing I'm going, if it's one, it got many things I could say good about that girl's game, right? But if it's one thing I'm going to say, right? That girl could shoot, okay? And if a lot of people remember when they was kids, whether you're a girl or a boy, when you first went on the court by yourself sometimes and you was just there, right? Like you could have been at the line, at the free throw line, and you little and short, but you tried your best to hit that free throw, and whether it used to hit the gate every time and didn't even go up, you still went back every day and you throwing that ball your highest to make that free throw. And then sometimes you used to go right up to the court and throw your strongest. And let me tell you something. I remember times when the ball come back hit me on the head because I'm little. You know, you're like 5 years old and you try and shoot the ball all the way up there, but it gave you strength because you know, and like, okay, I got to throw the ball harder. You know, I got to throw the ball harder. I got to aim higher. And that's what I did. When I'm little and I'm there like, man, I got to throw this ball harder. Wait, hold on. I got to move back so I could see. And this is why I will say too for people out there that don't think basketball has science to it. Okay, I'm going to just break down a little bit to you right now. And later on in time, I will break a lot down to you. But science is all around basketball, okay? Now, I'm going to take you back to when I was like 5.5 years old. On Prospect, between Home Street and 168 and 198 Park on the top of deck. Now, remember bouncing my ball, you know, just bouncing the ball. I'm right-handed, you know, bouncing the ball, making a couple of right-hand dribbles, you know, and I'm gonna be honest to you, I couldn't control my left-hand dribble back then, you know, being 5.5 years old. I couldn't, cause as a little kid, I remember doing a lot of things predominantly with my right hand. I remember being right-handed and writing with my right hand. I remember eating with my right hand. I remember, you know, sometimes you put on your shirt, you put your right hand first, putting my right socks first, you know. So I was very used to everything being right-handed. So when I first picked up the basketball, I even held it in my right hand. Now, I remember dribbling it, you know, dribbling it with my right hand. And, like, the universe so crazy is, as I said, I'm right-handed, and I don't really remember too much of throwing it to my left hand, you know. I just remember pacing around, and you know how you used to dribble around yourself, and then you there bouncing around with one hand, you know, going around in a circle. You know, that's what I used to do. So I remember doing that on the court by myself. I'm trying my best to, you know, shoot a shot. As I said, it was hitting the gate, you know, hitting the fence. It ain't even going up in the air that much. It ain't no, how could I say to make a joke on myself? It wasn't no air under the ball, you know? It was just hitting the gate. I gotta go run over to the gate, get the ball from off the fence. Now, I remember I said, maybe I should come a little closer. And I remember throwing the ball up there. It ain't going. It's coming back down. Sometimes I gotta move out the way for the ball hit me on the head. So I remember saying, if I move back some where I could see the court Now, this is where your mind, you're still a little kid, but this is why you should never make your imagination leave you, okay? Never make your imagination leave you, no matter how old you get. Now, I'm there like not hitting the shot at all, I'm like, if I move back a little, throw it a little harder, maybe I may hit the rim, you know? I ain't saying it's gonna go in, but maybe I'll hit the rim. And to tell you the truth, hitting the rim back there, hitting the rim back then for me, that was a goal. That was something big, you know. Cause as I said, that was like my first times going on the court, and I ain't never hit the rim. I ain't never hit the rim. I ain't never make a shot. So hitting the rim, that was a goal to me. That was success, you know. So I remember I said, let me move back a little so I could see the rim, see the backboard. But I'm thinking that if I throw it a little harder, use some more strength, it may hit the rim, And I remember throwing that ball up there probably like 30 times. It ain't go nowhere. Probably by like the 42nd time it touched the rim. And I remember telling myself I move back a little more, throw a little harder, but as any shooter know, aim. I was like, let me aim for that circle. And I remember just aiming for the circle, just throwing, moving back. And I keep on moving back, throwing harder. Now I'm gonna say this. You're 5.5 years old. And you're trying to do something that you like, but you're not being successful at it. And I'm going to be honest to you. Yes, I was getting frustrated. I was getting mad. I was getting angry. Because I was trying to accomplish something, but I wasn't accomplishing it. So, I remember I probably got like 4 or 6 footsteps from the free throw line. And I'm still there throwing it my highest as I could. Nope, nope, nope. Ain't going nowhere. Ain't going nowhere. Ain't going nowhere. So I went back up close, trying to eat applesauce, take baby steps. And I remember, as I said, I'm right-handed. So I remember I said if I just like throw it up like a hook with the highest, it'll go in like a regular, I didn't know what a layup was back then, but I said if I throw it up like a hook with my right hand, it may go in with its strength. It went in. So I remember, like, I'm going to be honest to you, winding up all my strength in my right hand and throwing it up. And that was my first ever in life shot in basketball. That was my first, I would say, layup. That was the first time I ever seen the ball go in. And it amazed me. And I'm gonna be honest to you, that's when I stood on the right side of the court because I didn't know about right and left. And being, oh no, you can't give up. You give up, you already lost. Bless up, thank you. I didn't know about right or left in basketball. And you know how you're a kid, you know about your right and left hand, you know about your right foot, your left foot, you know about your right ear and your left ear, but I didn't know about how important right and left was in basketball. So, as I said, using my right hand the most, I'm there throwing it up. And back then, as I could tell you, being 5.5 years old, no free throw. What free throw? Like this is, I'm not gonna say this is Air Bud or this is like I stood back there and I just keep on trying and I made a free throw. No, I'm gonna be totally honest to you. And I think the court still did till this day. Because if that court down, it's a different court. But the basketball rim, they changed it over the years. But 198 school, on Prospect. Well, it's up the block, on let me see. It's on Union. And let me see, hold on. That is on Union and Home Street. Yeah. Now, when you like thinking, like, as I said, this is some miracle story of you was gonna go back to the line and you was gonna hit it. No, that didn't happen. I wanted it to happen in my mind. Yes, of course I did, but it didn't happen because I remember throwing the ball probably like 90 times. And every time, you know how it used to bounce off the concrete on the wall or it bounced off the metal part on the gate? That's what it did, and I had to run after the ball or get the ball from between the fence. Now, and I ain't gonna act like I wasn't unhappy. No, I was mad. I was angry, because I still love basketball till this day of that day that I loved it playing by myself, but I'm gonna say yes, I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew what I wanted to do, you know? Cause I'm not gonna get on here and say like, yeah, I wanted to be Michael Jordan or I wanted to be Dr. J. No, I loved basketball, so I said I'm gonna go try this, and I just like it's kind of bigger than like not giving up because I remember seeing my little layup go in on the right side, and how could I say it was like Pac-Man because I remember every time I wanted to make that shot go in, I keep on have to build up strength and throw it hard as I can up there. And when you keep on doing something and you keep on doing it, see, some people would like to discredit you from doing something that you know how to do. But let me tell you this. If you keep on doing something and you know how to do it, don't ever let nobody tell you you can't do something that you know how to do and you kept on at it. And I remember keep on throwing it up with the left, and that was my first layup and shot ever in life. Anywhere. Anywhere. And made me feel good. Made my heart feel good. My soul felt good. I felt like I can't explain it, to be honest with you. I can't explain it. And I'm gonna be real. When I turned 7, that's when I could really officially, step back there and hit free throws, I ain't gonna, but when I was like 6 years old, I'm gonna be honest with you, that thing used to hit all over the rim. Okay, it hit all over the rim, or it's flying on top of the backboard, or it's gonna be stuck in the gate. But the older I got, I learned a couple of things of being on the basketball. You learn in measurement. You learn in whether people like it or not. You learn in the air. Okay? You learn in bounce. You learn in volume. And I remember like, and this is why I say like God and the universe, it takes you to a place where it takes you to places that you don't even know. Because It has certain times on the basketball court as a kid when I'm there studying different things and I don't know why I'm studying it, or like for example, I'm watching a dude dribble the ball like 20 times with his right hand, then he dribbling it 15 times with his left. And to be honest with you, I used to wonder in my head like why am I studying or counting stuff like this until I got to be like 14 years old, and I'm calculating different things on the court where some people that play basketball, they would study things like this, and some people that don't play basketball, they'll be like, you're a weirdo. Now, I'm going to tell you one trick that I always used to use on people, and it helped me, and this how I knew that energy was real. I used to give some people the basketball, and by the way you dribble that basketball and hold that basketball, I could tell the type of player you was. And by the way that person hold that basketball, of playing with it and using it, you can tell if they good or they bad. And a lot of the times, a lot of people, when I threw them the ball, I seen who they was. And you went to work. No, you went to work. And as I say with the science, sometimes you could be at the court by yourself, because sometimes being at the court by yourself is the best way you learn many things, because nobody is there and it's just you, the ball, the backboard, the floor, and the rim. And how could I say this? It's silent, but it's noisy. Okay? Both in one. Because the noise is in your head, but the silence is outside in the court. You know? Because some people would think like, yo, it's the other way around. No. The silence is on that court. Because you're thinking about all type of things in your head. You thinking about all type of moves, new moves you want to try. You thinking about if you want to shoot with your left hand or right hand. You thinking about if you want to do this crossover or that crossover. Now, when you're in the court by yourself, and I learned this from Mr. Howard, like just sometimes you just always go, left hand, right hand, free throw, and then after that, left hand, right hand layup. And then you just go around, 3-point on the left hand side, 3-point on the right hand side. And then, 3-pointer from the top. And then after that you go free for all. Wherever you shoot the ball, wherever the ball lands, that's where you shoot it from inside of the half court, And I remember, I made this up, within 4 bounces, and sometimes you can do it by yourself. It'll be more running around when you do it by yourself within 4 bounces because you'll have to run a lot. But when you do it with 2 people, it's much better and it's more fun, because somebody help you out and they pass the ball to you quick and you run to that spot and you shoot. You let the ball bounce, then you make 4 spots wherever it goes and you miss. And that's, put it like this, I'm going to say this. This gets your shot better because you're going to not want to run. But the running is going to help you out, And that's like, it helps you. It helps you. Helps you shooting, helps you running, and it helps you training, And this is how many times, and a lot of times, and every time, because I don't ever get if somebody with professional basketball players, mostly, men and women, don't get on the court and you're not prepared. Like some people be always saying, and I say it too, and this is what makes it a shame. You're $1 million player and you get on the court and you're not prepared. Well, to me, it doesn't matter about their money. You should be prepared because you're a human being. And you should be prepared because I think you should show your opponent that respect. Okay, like I'm gonna give you an example, and many people could overstand this. I wouldn't want to fight you at your lowest because that's no respect. I want to fight you at your highest so I can get my best respect. Thank you for everybody that was in the building. Marlene, thank you very much. Let me see. Jess Eric, thank you very much. My brother, let's go Knicks. You know, we gonna take this break right now. You know, the whole New York. And put it like this, I'm gonna tell everybody this, man. New York gonna bring this for the East Coast, okay? Cause New York represents the East Coast, and New York is gonna bring it back to the East Coast, okay? Thank you for everybody that was in the building. God bless, much love.